everybody. It's Thursday.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And we are excited to be getting on to talking about ice season here.
Yeah, I mean, we, normally we have a guest or one or two, but there's still shows going on. So all of our friends and all the people out there in ice fishing land are all getting ready for this weekend. Another round of shows. We're getting ready for ice.
Well, or we'll find
out. Or
a
snowstorm.
Yeah, because it's going to really depend. So far, the latest forecasts say that we are getting anywhere between 2 and 12 inches. So who knows?
Anywhere in there.
But we are looking to see how that goes because that is definitely going to determine at least part of our plans for the weekend. I am starting to see reports around, Paca, Shawano, and surrounding counties that people are on ice. Actually, I gotta say, I've been driving for work and I actually made it all the way up to Rhinelander the other day, but the entire way I was seeing, tracks on the ice. I was seeing people actually out ice fishing. So, that's only so reliable when you're not there and checking the ice yourself. But it is making me excited for, the ice season to come.
Yeah. I mean, I was driving around today, went and checked a couple of lakes up by my work. Those are not so frozen yet. There was, especially with this snowfall there, you can tell where there's still some water showing, and it is what it is.
The other thing that a lot of places are also experiencing right now, though, is a considerable amount of wind. And so that is one of the things that if you have a body of water that is closed up, that might be able to survive it. And depending on how cold it is, that might do okay. But when you have those bodies of water that were not totally frozen or not at all, that's just going to keep mixing up that water and it's going to make it a lot harder to freeze. So hopefully when we get to that point, I don't know, it all happens and then it can be ice fishing.
So let us know where you're at, if you've been on ice or what you've been watching wherever you're at.
Or if you're one of those people that's going to plan on traveling this weekend, where are you traveling to? How far is your trip? Because I know, especially with early ice, people get really excited. And some people are making a big trek this weekend.
Yeah.
So I guess, let us know if you have questions or comments or things along the way, or like Josh is saying, let us know your ice report if you have one. But the other thing that we are here to talk tonight about is actually something that we call a hole hopper bucket. So we will show you that in a second. But really a fabulous thing for when you're going out, especially in early ice situations. So, everyone is so excited to get out, oh, new shack, new this, new that. But, it is also that time of the season where you do kind of want to consider packing at least a little bit light. Thickness, hopefully you're going on ice that is, good enough to hold you. You can never totally say safe ice. But the lighter that we can pack, I feel like is the better that can go and the more portable you can be, especially with first ice, you got to track those fish down. So do you have your bucket here? You want me to grab mine?
Well, let's talk a little bit about history. You're going to burn this topic out in the first 5 minutes here.
Well, I feel like we should at least show people so they know what we're talking about.
Well, okay, so grab yours and I'll kind of go through. So we're definitely not the makers of this. This is something that was brought to our attention by Eric. Sorry, but you can go on eBay. They're available on eBay, like $14, I think. I don't know. We don't make any money off them. So it's not a concept new to the ice fishing world. This has been around for a long time. There's brackets that are available for you to mount your flasher on. We use ram mounts. There's all kinds of stuff out there that guys have done to their 5-gallon bucket. And we just, we got into it a couple of years ago. Last year was our first time running a full season with one. And I think what I touched on in the description of the show was that in the past, it wasn't necessarily super practical, right? Because you're carrying around a 7-pound lead acid battery in a bucket, plus all your gear. It gets to be a heavy bucket. It's a 5-gallon bucket. You put a lot of stuff in it. Now with, the batteries, the lithium batteries, like our amped outdoor batteries or whatever you use, they're light. So now you cut down to 2 pounds or less in some cases, and now you can put a bunch of stuff in that bucket. You don't even need a sled. Sometimes.
In some cases.
So I mean, that's kind of where that's at. It's very popular in the tournament circles, and I really think that it should be more popular in just general fishing circles. It fits in almost any, it fits in almost any car, any vehicle. You can fit everything that you need for, a day of fishing. And it's just a great tool.
You were kind of glazing over the fact, and Gus was pointing out, great for competitive fishing. But I think there's a few other things about it that I have come to love. So one of them is, if you have, kids or other people that you are taking out on the ice and everyone can carry their own things, then no one person is stuck, carrying all the stuff. And that's actually nice. Everyone can have their own things and, fish where they want. And that allows you to spread out and hopefully catch those fish. But I think catching the fish is the key here because, I had heard about whole hopper buckets. I've seen them online and people post mods and all of these cool things. But it actually wasn't until we got together with the Razor Ice Hoggers crew and Matt Milbrandt. I hope I'm saying your last name right. But he is a fabulous fisherman. And one of these days we'll get him on the show because he's awesome. But he had a whole hopper bucket, and I would say he was out fishing everybody, but like crazy. And one of the things, I made myself determine, if he can catch that many fish, one of the keys that he was moving around. And so I was like, well, I can do that. I had my rod and I had like a bucket and I had like a Vexlar and like whatever. All these things are separate, but all of a sudden you need like 4 hands to move effectively. And, especially when it gets cold, it's hard to do things like that. And so, honestly, I gave up trying to keep up, which was kind of a really crazy thing to have to deal with as a fisherman, is to like watch somebody like outfish you so bad. And honestly, I was just like jealous because it was so fun. And we caught plenty of crappies. We did just fine. Like if he was not there, we would have all said that we would rock the day. But it was amazing just how much you can learn from observing others. And so in this case, that's one of the things that I really took away from it.
Yeah. We got a question here. Where are we fishing this weekend? Probably, I would say a good bet is Shawano or Waupaca County.
I was waiting to see how specific Josh was going to get. Yeah. There's honestly only a handful of places that I know of that I kind of want to check out that are actually frozen at this point. And so, I could be like, oh, I have all these options, but like really, I don't feel like that's true yet.
But getting back to the whole hopper, I mean, me personally, my opinion on flashers is that it's an essential tool, right? You're not just because, all your other LCD screens have a flasher mode on it doesn't make it a flasher. And the thing that makes a flasher is that you can dial in the power. And so you're sending less signal in shallower water. And so you can fish effectively in like 2 feet of water. And not that, sometimes you can just see down your hole and that's fine. But sometimes it's super dark water and we have those spots or it's super stained up. And so, having that ability to fish, that super shallow water or just fish, in the shallower depths, I think that's what makes the whole hopper bucket something that I really think lends itself well to a Vexlar.
I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have come up with that at all because I certainly feel like it's one of those things that you can use in many situations. And I guess as far as finding fish, the one thing that I do like about it, you told me not to have this thing up, but we're ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
One of the things that we found for the side, how do I show this to you? Yeah. What do you call this? It's just like a cleat. Cleat.
Yep. For a kayak.
Yeah. And we tucked it just kind of like right under here. I would like to show you and talk at the same time. That's clearly not going to be possible. But we put that cleat there. And then what was so nice about it is that you have all of this cord for the Vexilar. And as you can see, I just put it right into the bucket. So that's really user friendly. But then having that cleat on there makes the cord length just super adjustable. So when Josh is talking about fishing shallow, that's an occasion where you can just kind of like reel that right up. And then that's super easy to do. But if you then, we have some places with some steep drop offs. And what we can do in that case is just very easily let a little bit of line off out that cleat. So, a perfect time that you're able to customize this bucket to kind of be how you want it to be.
Is that high enough?
Well, let's find out.
So I guess where I was going before is that, just because we have different types of units, the expensive units available to us doesn't mean that the Vexilar and the Flasher is not something that you should have. I think it's a really inexpensive unit a lot of times to have, and I really think that this setup lends itself well to that shallow water fishing. And so this is in addition to having something that's that LCD monitor for the deeper fishing. So that's all I was meaning by that.
Yeah, I'm not carrying around a second graph though, because that's the point of this is portability. So, I mean, use it how you see fit. That's the thing about it.
And the thing about it is that everybody has different opinions. So even we have different opinions on stuff sometimes. But so we just used a ram mount. This is just a flat mount on here. I shimmed it up with some washers just to give it some more stability. And I guess one of the things that I would really stress a lot about construction on a bucket is pop rivets. So pop rivets really helped put this all together, and it kept it light, and it's going to last. Yeah, it's going to last quite a long time, being that most of them are aluminum pop rivets.
And so what these are then holding on is, the seat just kind of snaps in. But then you did get that rivet kind of all the way through there. So, this part does not come off. But that's nice because, all the wires are in there. The amp battery tucks like right inside. Look at that.
Yep. Yeah, so this is the Sit and Stow by Frable. You can get that on Amazon. All this stuff was sourced off of Amazon. So you have this little guy that has a USB charger and a voltage meter. So the voltage meter doesn't really do much except for, lets you know that it's on. Because with the lithium, you have 100% power all the way until it's dead, and then it just tanks off. So it doesn't really tell you how far you got in your battery. It just tells you that you have juice. So that's what that's for.
But it is really nice that you can put the switches right there. And, if there's other things like this has the USB charger in it. But if there's other things that you're wanting to hook up or do or whatever, that's a spot that you're able to kind of, again, customize that to however you see fit.
Yeah.
It does have actually a really nice handle and it's on a rope, but then it has this grippy thing, which actually is really nice because you don't want like a long handle. And honestly, you want something that fits inside because as far as a mobile unit, you don't want to be tripping on that or anything as you're catching a fish because, the point of this is to make the whole setup easier.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that we're imagining is as far as, first ice when you're going out there, if you're able to have your graph, we do even have a rod holder on the side. So, you can have a rod or two or even put them inside. But then if you are the kind of person that has like a drill auger, imagine you could almost go on a whole fishing trip with just what you can carry. That's kind of an interesting thought. I tend to overload a sled. But it is really possible to go super mobile like that. What am I missing? I feel like what else do I fill my sled with? Oh, tackle, jigs and plastics can fit in there though.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just a mobile thing and you're able to, just carry everything with you that you need. And when you need something, pull it out of the bucket. When you don't, throw it in the bucket. very easy. But then you know, I know the shuttles and stuff have gotten really popular, but that's still, shuttles have been around a long time. And the new stuff just has plugins and lights. You can add plugins and lights to this. So you can have your power box in your bucket that runs your graph and has lights and whatever you want on it. So it's really just a sweet early ice unit when you don't want to drag a whole bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about using the bucket is, I think some of the tournaments are catch and release now at this point, but some of them are not. And so some of those tournaments are still keeping fish. And so the point about this also is that you can sit right on that bucket and kind of be able to catch those fish and then, be very discreet. I'm leaning over as if you could see me, I'm demonstrating it, but obviously you can't see that much. But then you can take that fish, drop it right in your bucket. And, again, not all of us do tournaments and that's okay. But, on those occasions where maybe we do keep fish and we're not throwing them back. One thing you don't want is everyone following you around the lake all day because, that can get a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I guess so. One of the things that I do like about this, besides sitting on it too, is I like that it's up off the ice. And so if you need to adjust your settings, you can just stand. I like to stand and fish a lot. Or like I'll put my knee up on the bucket and fish from like an elevated position, but now your unit is up off the ground, 2 feet, and everything's right there at your fingertips. You can set stuff on here like a table. Yeah, it's really fun to fish with.
Well, and I guess that's kind of the funny thing is, I expected this to be like a full hour-long chat because, it's the whole hopper bucket. That's like such an exciting thing. But the amazing thing about it is, I guess, how simple it is. And so, beyond just being able to, do what you want with it and, attach the different things, I think the hardest part is just finding the different pieces. So remind everyone where you're doing that.
Well, I mean, I have a whole list that I have on Amazon. So I guess if anybody wanted all of the stuff that I bought, like the exact stuff, I can share that list. That's not hard. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think I bought anything besides the Vexlar or I don't think I bought anything anywhere else except for Amazon, except the Vexlar.
Crazy. So the other thing that we were talking about is that the shows and expos, there is still one more weekend of that, but that is coming to a close. And then, gosh, we are sneaking up on the holidays here. And that's going to be pretty exciting because, there's some of us that have asked for fishing gear for Christmas, and a lot of people that get to go on some fun adventures after that. So, we are talking all about the weather and all of that coming up. We don't exactly know how much snow we're getting, but hopefully come in January, there's a whole bunch more that we don't have to worry about packing so light. Although I bring this all year.
Yeah, it's fun to fish with most of the year. Yeah.
Cool. So if anybody has any other questions, definitely let us know that. Otherwise, I guess that's that. I don't know. What else do you got?
I don't have much. This was kind of what you wanted to talk about tonight. So I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to add. I don't know.
No, I have a sweet sticker collection though. You can't see all the ones on the bottom. Some of the best ones are down there.
I don't know many people that have a much better sticker collection than you.
I got more to add. That's the problem is I'm running out of space.
Overlap.
Some of them you can't. Then you'll just be covering them all. But that's a really great point. So if you do recognize us out there, if you recognize my bucket out there, definitely come and say hi to us because we do fish. Well, I was going to say local waters, but not all of us are local to each other. So I guess that doesn't actually really make sense. But, we do run into people on the ice all the time. And it is really great to be able to do that. So sometimes people are fishing the same way as us and some people are fishing different than us. And either way, I kind of love chatting about that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if anybody does have any other questions, feel free to leave that in the comments here and then we will check back and we'll get back to you guys. Otherwise, I don't know. We next week are back with I guess some more typical shows. Our shows here because the expo season is coming to a close. And so I think, sometimes availability opens up as long as people aren't already on the ice. But if you guys have, specific, topics that you want to talk about, if you have specific people that you want to see, any of that, then, one of the things that we're looking at doing is booking up into the new year. So contacting people and all of that is always a great time to get to know them, talk to them a little bit, but getting them on the show is always the most fun to be able to share with you guys. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. So with that, I guess looking forward to seeing you next week or seeing you out on the ice.
Night, everybody.